Today it's time for more industrial machines, and the main subject of today's video is going to be constructing an industrial stand and tabletop. These machines that I've had delivered have come flat packed, so I'll be showing you how to go ahead and construct a table and stand there. We've got a plane sewer which I won't go through in this video, but keep an eye out for a video on the Zoje plane sewer here. And apologies for the attire, I'm in holiday mode at the moment, so yeah, not looking quite as svelte as this gentleman here. He's looking pretty good there, I'd say. He's yeah, I'd say that'd be a good advertisement if you walked into a shop and you know, you saw a pretty suave gentleman like that on the packaging of a sewing machine. You'd be tempted to buy it, wouldn't you? I'm sure. So that will be coming later. The other machines I've got here are a coverseamer, industrial coverseamer machine, also a Zoje, and a Singer 4-thread overlocker. So let's get down to the floor here. I'm in the garage at the moment, so yeah, apologies for any noise from aircraft and whatnot, and it's pretty warm today, so it's going to get pretty hot in here. But anyway, let's start by unpacking this flat packed table and stand to get it ready to put the machine head into. Okay, let's start by getting this down on the floor. I'm not too sure how heavy these are. They're probably 20 kg or somewhere around there. Cut these packing straps off. And here we have the, that's the drawer, and it's holding all the bolts and nuts and linkages and things like that. This here is the bar that the treadle sits on. So that sits on the bottom. We've got the foot lifter. Because this table is going to be used for a cover seamer, I'm pretty sure they have a foot lift pedal. So foot lift and treadle power there. This part here is the cross member that sits across the back of the stand there. So we've got a pair of legs there, and here we have a tabletop for the cover seamer. That's the cover seamer top there. Got the protective bumper pads there. First of all, we'll take the tops, just the top of the stands out. We will start by assembling the back strut on this here. Open up the box of goodies here. Yeah, lockable casters, so quite handy for moving the machines around, and you can lock the casters in position. So here we've got the bolt here with its matching washer and spring washer already captive on there, so that's not going to come off. And then we've got the washer for the other end with the nut here. So on the back of the legs here, they're already threaded holes here, so we don't need the nuts and the extra washer there. So let's start by just attaching the back strut. Probably one bolt there will be fine in the meantime. Attach the right leg there. Now we can get the remaining bolts in. The bolts have got large Phillips heads in them as well, so you know, you could get away with doing your preliminary tightening just by using a Phillips screwdriver. And then a 14mm socket, going to be quite handy. I'll just put the short extension on there, and we'll just go ahead and do these four up here. that's that part done. Pretty straightforward. Now I'll just swing this around. So now you're looking from the operator's point of view and I'm looking from the back here. So the next thing I'll do is attach the casters here. We have a caster with a locking nut there. So we'll screw this into the hole here and then lock it with this. Yeah, that's a 17mm. So quite handy to have a spanner. So they are adjustable for leveling, raising and lowering the table, etc. So I'll just leave those loose in the meantime until I get the machine in situ and figure out if I need to raise or lower those. Let's get those on now. You may hear a few aircraft in the background too today. Garage is not very well sound insulated. Now we only want to put 2 of the casters on at the moment because you want to leave these free. It's going to make it easier, I think, to get this cross member here on. This is where the treadle sits. What we've got to do here is these plates here, the threaded holes in the plate, they slip down in this channel like that, and then the bolt goes through the bottom. So this is looking from underneath. The bolt goes through and screws up the plate which is down in this channel here. So it looks to me as though the best way would be slide that in here in the end far enough just so that you can get a screw in for the bolt, like that. Leave it loose because that needs to slide back and forward, and we'll do the same over here. Again, we can leave that loose, and when you get the machine set up, you can adjust this back and forward to suit your comfort, really, ergonomics. Put the rubber bumpers back on. One here, and the other one here, and then maybe while we're here we should look at hooking up the treadle. So these parts here, these are the hinges for the treadle. So that attaches down onto the cross member, and this here goes through the little hinge hole in the treadle. I just made a mistake, so I won't go through exactly, I won't show you all the footage of what I did here, but it's wrong. But these come in on the inside like that, not on the outside like that. So what you can do then is you can fit the hinges here and I'll change these around here again inside, so you want it to be more like that there. Just finger tighten that one there, and then bring this hinge out into its hinge hole there, tighten that one there. When we stand this table back up, we should be able to adjust this and get a spanner in from either side here and tighten this if need be. That one, that's going to go there, and that's all good there. Just before we go flipping it over, I'll put this linkage here, this plate attaches to the back of the treadle here, like so. That's also adjustable and can go either way, like so. More than likely we'll want it probably around more central there. we'll work that out once we get the controller installed, etc. That might need to be swapped over. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Now these are smaller, they look like 6mm actual thread there, and they are 10mm socket or spanner, and then we've got a nut to go on the back with no washer. Anyway, that's okay. I'd probably put a washer on that, but that should be okay. So, and then the foot lifter, this little linkage here will be for the chain. Yeah, same sort of thing, just a little metal plate with a couple of holes. And then we are ready to tip the machine back over, and there we have the bottom half of the stand done. That's looking, so you're looking from the operator's angle there, treadle, so that's the go, and that's the presser foot lifter there. And we've left this loose here so that we can adjust it accordingly, and then it's just a matter of putting the stand top halves in here, just on the, so these are the top halves of the legs, just one either side there, sits down in there. We've got a plate with two holes that these bolts bolt into here, and these plates go on the inside here. So they've got a slight bend. You can see the slight bend here. That bend goes in against the inside here. Right, so it bolts in there, this bolt comes through. So the bend faces that way for this side, and then the bend faces this way for this side here. You'll also notice you've got two sets of holes here. Now that just gives you extra height, so if you put in the clamp in the top holes here, that gives you extra height. You can come up quite high. If you put them in the bottom here, you can go down quite low. So it really just depends how high you want your table. Again, that's easily adjustable. Another one here. Again, I'm not tightening these, I'm just finger tight so that we have the ability to adjust that later. This one, concave side on this side here against this inside of this leg. I'm not doing those up too tight. I've left them loose enough to adjust. So the next thing to do now is to attach the tabletop. Right, tabletop sits on here like that, but what I'm doing here is just getting a bit of an idea of where to position the tabletop, and I would say what I'd be tempted to do would be take a centre line between these two edges here, centre line down here. I'll do that when I flip the machine over. You don't need to be too fussy about exactly where that goes. I mean, if it's closer to the edge it doesn't really matter too much. I can't, but just sort of roughly in the middle. Also front to back, I would be putting the table roughly in the middle. The centre line of the table I would match with the centre line of these struts here. This is the back of the table, this is the front, so the operator sits here. So we want to make sure that the stand goes on the right way. So I'm going to make this distance here roughly equal with this distance here on these two, the edge of the top of the stands here. and also central down between here roughly. Let's make sure we do the same on the other side. We want these to be the same distance here to here and here to here. Okay, and that's roughly in the middle. I'm just eyeing that, roughly in the middle between this edge and this edge. And we'll just have a quick measure here. There's about 3.5 inches between the edge of the top of the stand and the front of the table, and about 3.5 between the edge of the back of the top of the stand and the back of the table there. So do the same on the other side to make sure we get these the same. 3.5, make sure it's square. It's coming back a little bit, just there. Just there, 3.5. Yep, that's good there, and it's central here, so we're ready to put these screws in. So the screws for the table are larger of the screws there. Got the little ones there that'll be to attach the runners for the drawer. So let's go ahead and get those screwed in. That done, and while we're here we might as well do the runners for the drawer. So we'll put the drawer in the runners just so that it's easier to line up there. We want this drawer edge here to be slightly back from the edge of the table, just slightly, and that's fairly even there. Get one screw in there. Some of you might notice that there's a little bit of hiss in the background on these videos, some of these newer videos, because I'm wearing a wireless microphone here, and I noticed that although it's very handy, because if I was to be doing this sort of video back here away from my camera like I am now, it would sound like I was on the moon a million miles away. So I organised a wireless mic, but it does introduce a little bit more hiss. If you do notice, some of the videos may have a little bit more hiss to them. That's the stand with the tabletop on. I'll turn it over and take a wee look. And there we go, we've got a stand here ready to accommodate the machine head thread stand. So I'll just put this back over to protect the table. So that's pretty much it for today. The table's fairly well built up and ready to go. Just one more thing to do was to fit the pitman rod here. That's actually considered part of the table build, but I'd like to leave that until I've got the machine head, which I'm sitting on here, the cover seamer machine head fitted to the table. I'll go ahead and finish by fitting that, and this cover seamer here is a fairly grunty beast, so I may need a hand from someone to lift that up. I'll show you in another video about this one. This is a plane sewer, so keep an eye out for more videos, and I thank you very much for watching. What do you reckon, dude?